know that the city can't raise taxes more than just a small percentage without going to the voters for approval. So they're raising the minimum or the max that they can to try to maintain services, but it's still 5.5 to 6% less than what inflation has been last year. Where you pay more at the pump and everything else, the city's doing the same thing. So we're actually operating with less this year by 4.5 to 5%.
Is that one of the reasons we cut the bulk trash from every week to every other week?
It is one of the things that we're trying to do to try to,
Can you ask our neighbors to pick up their trash?
If you call up here and talk to code, they will, I think we're outside of the leniency period now, is that correct? So if you call up here and talk to code and give them the address, they'll go by and just remind them, and they'll probably just send them a letter and just remind them once, and then afterwards, that if it continues, then they'll run like again.
all right, any other questions on this topic?
Oh, go ahead, sir. You were first.
I would like to return to an answer there about the increase in the budget from the police department from last year to this. I understood 1.7 million to 2.4 million.
Yes, sir, something like that. I can tell you exactly.
That's a 45% increase in 1 year.
Of course, it's not all salary, but yes, there was a big adjustment to their salaries because we weren't getting officers. And in competing with the other cities around, we did a wage study.
Was it we have more people each earning more money? Is that the reason for the big increase?
That's a part of it, yes, sir, a big part of it.
So you fill vacancies and that costs.
Yes, sir.
Chief, you want me to say?
And we did many surveys.
Do you mind me saying what it's been? How long we been 3 officers short?
How many officers do we have, or supposed to have?
We were 4 for many years. You were filling in. Officers were having to fill in for patrol officers, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's been going on, I know, since Carter was his last year, so that's 5 or 6 years. And they have graciously turned down doing stuff for the police department, so other departments could be dealt with that had what they thought were more needs. And now, I guess the term, the chickens come home to roost. We gotta make up for lost time. But it's hard to attract officers now, period, even with the pay. This may not solve everything.
Okay. 45% increase is still a huge increase.
I agree.
So we
That's
asked
because
for a
we've waited
study.
behind.
I'm sorry.
We asked them to do a comparison study, so we could know exactly how far behind the other cities that were like us. And so we're $10,000 to $20,000 lower than a lot of the cities around. And I don't mean big cities, I mean the smaller cities in comparison to us and how we run. And so from there, they created a step salary program, and we looked at that and made adjustments for what we could. But and we didn't give them. It wasn't a situation of where they asked for something and we gave it. We know we are behind in police salary, and so we did take a big step this year, but it actually levels out next year the way it goes in the step program. This is a bigger year for us, but next year it won't be as hard to reach that amount. How do...
Next year will be, I was just running some numbers on it today. It seems like next year will be around 60,000 that will all come out of crime.
in different areas,
Yeah.
not just the general budget?
I had one last question, which was, a comment was made, Fort Worth had charged 10,500 gallons for every resident.
Yes, sir.
Was that incoming or outgoing? And is it per month or what?
It doesn't matter. It's a flat 10,500 gallons. Don't matter what your meter reads. They do it by 10,500 times the number of connections in River Oaks residentially.
That's the incoming water charge. They charge that.
Yeah.
I would point out that there's a certain irony, the whole country's gone on, 1.6 gallon per flush toilets
Sure.
and the rest of it, and it won't matter beans as far as Fort Worth is.
No, it won't. I've tried. That's an old 1960s calculation they use.
And just to help you, it's not 45%, so the adopted for 22 to 23 was 2.3 million, and this year it's roughly 2.6, so it's only like a 10% increase. The 17 was percent for salary only.
Yeah.
But then the total overall budget is roughly less than 10%.
300,000, 15%.
245,000 difference between last year and this year for the police.
I think the actual calculation of the salaries is 195, if I remember that right.
And I think you had another question as well.
I did. I want to, ask if budget was what the library was not reopened after it was temporarily closed for COVID.
I think that the library was closed because it wasn't being used. We now have libraries in our hands with modern day cell phones, so the amount of users using the library was way, way down.
Because I have yet to talk to a neighbor that is not upset over the arbitrary closing of the library.
And are you aware that you can go to Lake Worth and use their library?
I don't know where I have to get in a car, drive over to Lake
We had already
Let's
planned.
go down there.
and not everybody in River Oaks, wants to make that drive or can make that drive,
I understand.
you know?
Just understand they weren't using it when it was open.
Right.
Just
Well,
like we had,
that I can't speak to, that I haven't spoken to anybody yet who didn't say that they used the library, and they questioned why it was just closed without apparent discussion. Maybe I missed that.
The plan
So I
is-
was just wondering, I know we all can address it, but I was wondering if that was a budgeting issue, or it was just closed because
would that be an answer? Was that?
The
a
plan to
question?
close it was a long time ago.
Yeah, when we done the study years ago, it was talked about, we can't get it, if you don't make so much money through it, you won't get certified, and we won't get the benefits that go with the library, we would not be a certified library. And that was one of the things, and, really and truly, we needed to make, changes to get our services, our essential services covered. And that was one thing, unfortunately, that had to go. Yeah, it was a bad day, and I do want to correct something. When you were asking me about the, difference, I was given the actual money that we have spent to date. So Councilman Forrester presented that to you, that it was $2,353,131 last year's budget, and $2,598,359. So it's a lot less percentage than that.
Oh, the big gap you're talking about was our last year versus
Yeah.
year to date.
Yeah, we've got the actual expenditure so far in here, and I made a boo-boo.
That's one. Jack, did you want to make a?
No.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Ron Swaney, couple of things. The library closing, where did that funding go to? The funding that we send to the library, where did that funding go?
It went to get a full-time, fire department. That was the service I was talking about.
Okay, so we lost the library to pay for a full-time fire department, which used to be
Part of it,
volunteer and
yeah.
used to have some full-time people. And we use other, departments to fulfill our fire department.
In order to get a full-time fire department, yes, sir, we had to.
Okay, and we need the full-time fire department when we had a volunteer fire department.
We weren't getting
Because
volunteers.
we lost all of our reciprocal from Fort Worth and other neighboring cities no longer would help us fight fires when needed.
Okay, so we went to the full-time fire department, but yet we still have stand-in fire departments coming in and filling our spots